Hello. Yes, excuse me, we are back talking about this horrible, unprecedented future that might be headed our way. I'd like to think that I was incorrect, but this, I've been getting these Google alerts for quite a few years, and I have specific subjects and topics that I get the alerts on, and this here has started showing up. They've been around for quite some time, but they sort of went into the backside of things. They might have talked a little bit about a technology here, mainly about the shares and how much money you can make off these therapies. Now to see this one come through, which is really quite alarming, and is anybody even reading this stuff, I'd like to ask? Because this is just from, yesterday, the 20th, because today is the 21st, yes, you can see Sunday the 21st. But this one here, where's this from? For a Bangladeshi publishing group. Sounds like India somewhere, but I don't know. But anyway, it's about synthetic messenger RNA and the transcriptional dysregulation, evidence from new onset adverse events and cancers post-vaccination. There you go. So we're talking about vaccines, RNA and synthetic RNA being used in vaccines. So they're not mRNA, they're just RNA, which is very, very, very unfortunate, because when you look at this information along here, they're talking about the number of the results here, the conclusion, and the introduction. So then synthetic messenger RNA, mRNA. So it is mRNA. See what I'm saying? See what I mean? It's right here. Synthetic messenger RNA, and then in inverted commas, mRNA. Vaccines represent a novel immunization platform that delivers genetically modified mRNA encapsulated in liquid nanoparticles, which we all know about these, to encode and express viral antigens into human cells. So you've got to remember though, there's only so much that a cell can hold, and I found that out through the whole CV situation. Okay, this is the official paperwork that was lodged for a clinical trial in Melbourne. As you can see, they say it removes part of the ED3 gene and then it replaces it with spike protein. That company down in Melbourne, they were doing clinical trials and they had to release it all before it could be approved. And they mentioned that you have the D3, part of your E3 gene is removed, and they insert the spike protein, the synthetic spike protein in its place. And that is really, really scary, because they can't have an empty hole. They've got to fill it with something. And it's not natural what they're putting into your body. So here they're just talking about all the details of it. The patient population, you have to be over 18 years of age, of course. They don't want anyone younger, because your body is too pure and too undamaged and untouched or untarnished, that it would be very, very bad. And I don't think it would be a positive outcome. So they don't want any of those numbers showing up on any of their clinical trials. So here we're talking about group 1 consisted of 3 individuals. Wow, 3 people. Wow, that's amazing. That was a study of 3 people who experienced post-vaccination non-malignant adverse events with symptoms emerging within 1 month of vaccination. So 1 month, and they were unwell, and the results were already showing through the body within 1 month. Okay, and group 2 was 7, so altogether 10 people. Wow, that is such a huge study. And you've got to think, this is treatments and research that they're doing for the human planet. Every human on the planet, they're talking about this garbage, and to have a study of 10 people in general, 10, and we're talking about 9 billion people on the planet. That just shows you how friggin' insane these people are. They are insane. They're crazy. They're psychopaths. Okay, group 2 consisted of 7 individuals. They were diagnosed with new onset malignancies within 1 year of vaccination. Wow. None of the participants in either group had a prior history of chronic disease or known genetic predisposition before vaccination. So they're basically ruling out it being a family trait or some genetic defect in your genes that are ancestral. No, they were clean slates they took this gene treatment and some got really sick and they ended up with cancer. And so when you have a look here, these are the clinical representations as to what you need to look out for. So patient number 1 got brain fog and chronic fatigue. Number 2 had a cardiovascular injury, thrombosis and chronic fatigue. So you think thrombosis, okay, did they end up with a blood clot? Did they have a stroke? Did they have a heart attack? That's a cardiovascular injury. Did they have something like that happen to them? Do they now have myocarditis or pericarditis or one of those things? And of course the chronic fatigue is because your body is not working correctly, so it's having to reset itself all the time. It keeps having to fire these connections across and it's not working. And so your system is using all this wasted energy to try to get things done. Okay, and then you get to the sad side of things. These are the others. There were 10 people. Okay, so they're the 10 groups of people. I was wondering why there was 10. Patient 10, I presume it means. So if you were patient 4 all the way down to patient 10, I'm sorry to tell you, but you ended up with cancer. I'm sorry, but you got cancer. This is scary. Can you believe that? Out of the 10 people, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. 7 got cancer. So which cancer are you going to be lucky enough to get if you were unfortunate enough or make a bad decision or were coerced enough to take this toxin into your body? Which one are you going to pray for? Prostate cancer? Well, you'd have to be a man for that. Bladder? Oh, you can get bladder cancer. Wow, that sounds exciting, doesn't it? What about follicular lymphoma? Wow, that sounds like you might end up sorry. You got to laugh in this world. Follicular lymphoma, like follicles. I thought that had to do with hair. You have follicles for hair. And I was like, well, maybe you become really hairy. You become like an ape man. And I don't mean to be making light of these illnesses because this is really serious, but you either laugh or cry, and I don't want to cry anymore. I've had enough of my tears. So then prostate cancer again. So 2 people were lucky enough to get prostate cancer. Sorry. And 2 people got the follicular lymphoma. Wow, that was a popular one. And the other one, 2 people also got the Sigalomastoma meforme, whatever it is. Glioblastoma multiforme, okay. So 2 people got that. So, at least you're only going to get one of, so we've got one, 2, 3, 4 different types of cancer that you could end up with. So you choose, or will it be random? Like playing Russian roulette with your body, isn't it? Very, very dangerous territory here. So it goes through all the information along here. I obviously am not going to put any information on here, articulate anything because I get things wrong, and numbers and I aren't friends much anymore. What the brain sees, what the eyes and the brain see and the mouth says sometimes don't align. But people that know me accept that about me. And protein, interactive map. What's this got to do with protein? For constructing protein, this double speech. When constructing protein interacts. Yeah, okay, thank you. Wow, and the results. To characterize the global transcription impact of mRNA vaccine in individuals with post-vaccination adverse outcomes, we conducted different gene expression analysis, compared each patient group. Well, there's only 2 patient groups and there were 10 patients, so, come on, get real. This is all, once again, the numbers are so small, they can be friggin' fudged. And I've been looking, you can have a share on the stock market that's had a 50% increase and it's had like a 0.001% profit because it's such a cheap share. So, it's not really going to make you billions of dollars because it's gone up by 50% or 100%. And it's the same with the technology here, the way that they're using the numbers, I think, so they can sort of lose things in translation. Okay, we've conducted different gene expression analysis, each with the patient outcome to the normal cohort. I talk about the new onset cancer diagnosis. In both groups, a clear transcription shift is observed, with hundreds of genes showing significant dysregulation. Notably, the cancer group exhibits a broader description of knowledged genes, including several with extreme fold change malignance, suggesting a possible suppression of key regulatory pathways. Wow, which is, like, look at this. Look at this, it's insane. A volcano plant, yeah, volcano, all right. It's going to knock you out. Okay, so we want to look at group 1 with new adverse reactions, and group 2 with cancers. So we want to look at group 1 and group 2. They're the only ones I want to look at. Okay, group 1 and group 2, where are you? Group 1, okay. The top enriched gene sets clustered into 6 key hallmark categories: mitochondrial electron dysfunction with oxygen species. Well, that must be the lungs, I presume. I don't know. Pre-medicated protein degeneration stress, transcription. Oh, wow. These are the ones that just had reactions. It's number 2 that have all the cancers. Okay. Wow. Looks so pretty until you see it. That's all the cancers that people are getting. Wow. Otherwise, I'd say it's a beautiful. I'd make a t-shirt out of that. It's a beautiful design. But it's full of misery for people because it means they've got cancer and that they're passing away potentially. Wow. Okay, the rapid global rollout of RNA-based COVID-19 vaccines introduced a novel therapeutic platform involving synthetic mRNA. We weren't told it was synthetic mRNA, and even if we had been told, people would have not paid any attention. Come on. While initially deployed to migrate the spread of SARS, blah, 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 the long-term biological effects were unknown. Unlike conventional vaccines, these formulations induce cell hosts to express a viral glycoprotein from exogenous mRNA templates, because they keep repeating each other, raising concerns about unintended cellular responses. Emerging clinical reports on persisting symptoms following vaccination include neurological, cardiovascular, and immune-based, basically, disturbances, have prompted scientific scrutiny into the molecular mechanisms potentially triggering a response exposed to synthetic mRNA, its translation products, and associated immune activation. Wow. Patients who develop cancer following mRNA vaccine in group 2, a summary of the transcription. Wow. mRNA vaccine, this is what happens. They jab it in your arm and it goes straight to your heart. Kills you. There almost looks like chaos, doesn't it, Ross? All the different dysfunctions that are happening to your body when you take this stuff. Maybe send this to someone that's, on their 5th or 6th booster, and let them take this to their doctor and ask their doctor how this treatment or this therapy is beneficial to their body after reading this. I'd love to see what a medical doctor says. Okay, coronavirus disease 2009 vaccines. I don't want group 1, I want group 2. I want group 2. In group 1 cohort, transcription, I want group 2. From group 1, I want group 2. From group 1 and group 2. Okay, only group 2 presented enrichment related to the genomic instability and energetic shift hallmark key pathways, enriched aberration regulations of historic histone modification, DNA packaging, and agenetic silence, which are commonly observed in cogenic events, marker of DNA damage, persistent genomic likelihood of, okay, this is where it's getting interesting now. Persistent genomic instability increases the likelihood of acquiring domestic mutation, a key oncogene and tumour suppressing genes. A process that can circumnavigately drive malignant transformation. This is consistent with preclinical and in vitro evidence showing that exposure to the DNT, which is, I'm presuming, is like the mRNA jabby jab, treatment can modulate agenesis, reverse transcription, localization by line 1, blah, 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 both Pfizer and Moderna. Wow. The genomic exacerbations over time, independent analysis have correlated these concerns by identifying potential plasmid DNA contamination in both Pfizer and Moderna. And that's why that clear company here in Australia that's going to be able to filter out all the contamination, they're talking about here about contamination. Dingo. So this is where, you get a little bit of information from a company. Oh yeah, these guys have these trays that can clear all the DNA out, and they've made contacts with Pfizer. They've got contracts with, the other vaccine therapy companies to give confidence to the consumer and confidence by of course to the shareholder, because without shareholders they've got no money, and without any money the business doesn't work. It folds. It goes out of house, and that's where I had to really think hard and long whether or not I was going to get involved with the share market with this type of research. But I had to buy, as I said, you have to buy stock so you get access to this information. Otherwise, you'll never find it. It'll disappear. Obviously, this came through my Google alerts, but it's sort of making sense about the whole contamination thing, because nowhere else is talking about it. Nowhere else is talking about it. So, all of a sudden they'll call, they'll have a draw card, a wild card, and they'll pull out this, clever pharmaceuticals have done this. Look, this happened 6 months ago. And by then they've got all of this evidence-based data to back up what they've said and done. And once again, to validate all of this stuff, that the contamination has been removed. So therefore, all of these risks of getting cancer have been eradicated and removed because we've taken all the contamination of the DNA. We've done that. So it's all clean. It's safe and effective. Don't you worry. Safe and effective. Oh, and this makes me laugh. Okay? Let's just see. Other findings also highlighted transcription signals indicated of tumour prompting conditions, including suppressing P53, whatever networks, I don't know what that means, activation MYC targets, and altered interferon signals, particularly in the context of genetics dysregulation in the cancer cohort, which is cohort number 2. These observations suggest that the vaccine-induced transcription reprogramming, shall I say it again? Reprogramming, the transcription reprogramming, it is a program that they're putting into your body, a self-replicating, self-assembling graphene oxide into your body. So I'll say it one more time. Okay, where it's reprogramming may differentially affect individuals genetically or immunologically. over a longer period of time after vaccination. So once again, they don't even know the timeline that this stuff's going to take in your body, destroying it, slowly poisoning your body and causing it to degrade and turn to mush inside you. So it can't do anything, and once again, that just screws everything else. Despite the smaller size, this part here does my head in, because once again, they're trying to validate you've got to remember they had two groups, right? One had 3 and the other one had 7. A whole cohort of people was 10 people. Remember, 10 people. The first had 3 and the second group had 7. And I think they only have 7 because they're the ones that ended up with cancer, remember? Cohort 2 that ended up with cancer. That never had cancer beforehand, had no family history of cancer. Took this treatment, within a month they've got friggin' cancer. Okay? Despite the smaller sample size due to resource constraints. How can that be a resource constraints? How can that be? It's not like that 7 people chose to have cancer and be in cohort 2. Do you think they chose that? Yeah, right. This is them saying, oh, well, just the way things worked out, that cohorts are very, very small, because we only chose 10 people. The first 3 people got a little bit unwell, but they were okay. And then, the 7 people ended up with cancer. So we know who didn't get the placebo, don't we? Okay. And underscored the value of expanding future studies with larger cohorts. Oh, bingo. Wow. 10 people. Oh, you're looking about putting this garbage into 9 billion people around the world. Going up to 9 billion people. And they do a cohort with 10. I'm surprised they didn't do 10 rats and said, they're almost, genetically the same as human beings. So, we're all mammals. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Does your head in, doesn't it? But anyway, so this is very, very alarming. And I think everybody needs to have this and send it to a politician. I'm going to send it to the Pauline Hanson party and any other politician I think that might be able to use it in any way to try to stop this garbage coming forward our way, because they've got the arrays, they've got the little patches, they've got all this stuff all lined up. They just got to wait for the illness now. And what one is it going to be? And which cancer are you going to end up with? Which one, if you're silly enough to take this crap, which cancer are you going to be lucky enough to get? Think about it. That's the type of hard decisions you've got to make in life. But anyway, that's a bit scary, isn't it? And the other thing that also did my head in, this one here. New report sounds alarm on health fallout from mRNA vaccine funding cuts. And this again is from like a day ago. So this is going to be, because this is exactly what it says. Look at that. And that 5 mils, how many doses could that give people? Would that be enough doses maybe for 100 people, 1,000 people? And that many people are going to end up with this because of the study that we just did. We just focused on it. Cohort 2, remember? 7 people end up with cancer. 3 people passed a flying bullet, so to speak. Okay, so beyond the financial toll, the researchers found that withdrawing rapid but support advancing the mRNA vaccine technology could result in over 449,000 preventable deaths annually amongst patients diagnosed with 4 major cancers: pancreatic cancer, renal cancer, carcinoma, non-cell cancer, lung cancer, and metastatic metamolist. I don't even know how to say these cancers. All 4 cancers are the focus of cutting-edge mRNA vaccine and immunotherapy trials that have showed promising early results. Not compared to the study we just looked at. Which study are they looking at? Because they're not looking at the study we just showed. Oh my God. See, one hand is doing something. Like you get your 2 hands. The police go, hands up. And you go, I can't, I've got an itchy ass. I've got to scratch my butthole. But the other hand I'll put up. And the cops think you've got a gun because you've got your hand behind your back, but you're really just scratching an itchy ass. Sorry, that's a very bad analogy, but we're going to talk about shit here. because they're talking shit here. Literally, they're talking shit. We talked about, in the first research booklet we came across, they're talking about that fantastic financial benefit from all of this stuff. We've got to. It's timely and it's a bit complicated, but and it will help people. They don't give the data as to how, but then they're like, wow, but think of the money that we're going to make. So it's all worth it. You've got to have a shallow heart and a callous mind. Be very sadistic, I think, to want to financially benefit from any of this. It's blood money. It's not good. It's not good at all. But anyway, I've been rambling and raving on for way too long. I'll put these in. Please tell me if you think I'm right with what I've said, because I'd like to think I'm not, because I can't believe that, human beings are so cruel, sadistic and evil. At the end of the day, they have to be, some other biological life force, because they don't seem to be just like you and me. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they come from. I've got my ideas. And you know what I'm going to say, but I'm not going to say it. But anyway, I will be back with a different topic next one, because I have like 2 more videos to go. Yeah. Don't worry though, because they've showed promising early results. So if you end up with cancer by some fate of nature, some karmic law where you end up with cancer because you said something bad or you did something horrible, don't worry. They're showing early promising results. Just hang in there. Hang in there. Godspeed to all. Godspeed.